Jesus' relationship with his disciples, a story of love, guidance, and growth. It was a cool morning by the Sea of Galilee, and the fishermen were hard at work hauling in their nets. Among them were Peter and Andrew, two brothers whose lives would soon change forever. As they struggled to pull their boat ashore, a stranger approached, his eyes full of kindness and purpose. "Follow me," Jesus said, "and I will make you fishers of men." Without hesitation, the brothers left their nets behind and followed him. That moment marked the beginning of one of the most profound relationships in history, Jesus and his disciples. Over the next 3 years, 12 ordinary men would walk alongside him, experiencing transformation, challenges, and moments of deep connection. Friendship built on trust and love. From the beginning, Jesus was more than a teacher to his disciples. He was a friend. He didn't choose wealthy scholars or powerful leaders. Instead, he chose ordinary people, fishermen, a tax collector, and a zealot. Jesus saw past their flaws and potential weaknesses. He knew their hearts and believed in what they could become. One of his closest disciples was Peter, known for his boldness and impulsive nature. Peter often spoke before thinking and made mistakes, but Jesus never gave up on him. In fact, Peter's journey with Jesus reflected the depth of their relationship. Even when Peter denied knowing Jesus 3 times on the night of his arrest, Jesus later restored him with words full of forgiveness. "Peter, do you love me? Feed my sheep?" Jesus nurtured these friendships through shared experiences, walking from village to village, eating meals together, and laughing over small jokes. His time with them wasn't all teaching and instruction. It was full of moments of joy and personal connection. These experiences helped his disciples grow not only in faith, but also in love for one another, teaching by example. While the disciples called Jesus Rabbi or teacher, his lessons went beyond words. Jesus taught them how to live out their faith by showing compassion, patience, and humility. He didn't just preach love and forgiveness, he demonstrated it in his actions. One unforgettable example occurred during the Last Supper. Before the meal began, Jesus did something shocking. He washed his disciples' feet. In those days, washing feet was the duty of the lowest servant. Yet here was their teacher, kneeling before them with a towel and basin. As he washed their feet, he told them, "If I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet." This moment wasn't just about cleanliness, it was a lesson in humility and service. Jesus showed them that true leadership means serving others, even in the most menial ways. His actions left a lasting impact, shaping the way they would later lead the early Christian community, guiding through challenges and doubts. Jesus understood that following him would not be easy. He often warned his disciples that the path ahead would involve hardship, rejection, and persecution. But rather than shielding them from difficulties, he guided them through their fears and doubts. One night, while crossing the Sea of Galilee, a violent storm arose. The disciples, though experienced fishermen, were terrified as the waves crashed against their boat Jesus. Meanwhile, slept peacefully. In their panic, the disciples woke him, shouting, "Lord, save us, we are going to drown." Jesus stood, raised his hand toward the storm, and said, "Peace, be still." Instantly the wind and waves obeyed, and calm returned. Then he gently asked them, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" Moments like this were lessons in trust. Jesus knew that faith didn't come naturally to everyone, and that fear was a natural response to life's storms. Yet, through every challenge, he encouraged his disciples to believe, not just in his power, but also in the deeper truth that God was always with them. Patience with their failings. Despite his love and guidance, the disciples often misunderstood Jesus' teachings or acted out of fear and selfishness. Yet, Jesus was remarkably patient. Even when they argued about who was the greatest among them, he didn't rebuke them harshly. Instead, he gently reminded them, "The greatest among you must be the servant of all." When Thomas doubted that Jesus had risen from the dead, Jesus didn't scold him for his disbelief. Instead, he appeared before Thomas, showing him his hands and side. "Put your finger here," he said, inviting Thomas to see for himself. Through such encounters, Jesus showed that faith is a journey. and he was willing to walk alongside them, even in their moments of weakness. A lasting commission of love. Before Jesus ascended into heaven, he gave his disciples one final command. Go and make disciples of all nations,